only see it once, but that will be enough. Friday, the 13th.
Welcome to the 13th annual Halloween special. We have been doing this for a minute and I would not miss this for the world. Of course, I have got to talk about some of my favorite scary movies this October. I am so excited. This is going to be so much fun. I don't know if I'll be able to do as many as I usually do this month, but I am definitely going to do a few. This is going to be a blast. And because this is the 13th annual Halloween special, I figured it was finally time to talk about a movie I, believe it or not, have never reviewed. Friday the 13th. A group of teenage camp counselors attempt to reopen an abandoned summer camp with a tragic past, but they are stalked by a mysterious, relentless killer. If you've never seen the original film, this review is going to contain some spoilers. You have been warned. Friday the 13th became a franchise out of sheer will alone. It's one of the very few franchises that didn't really come into its own until later. Usually, the first film in a franchise is so successful and so great and everybody loves it, the rest of the films are just trying to catch up and figure out how that first film did it. It's very rare that a franchise figures out what it wants to do later. There are only a handful. Fast and the Furious, or perhaps the original Mad Max. The first Mad Max movie is pretty good, but Road Warrior is so much better, and Fury Road is even better than that. Jason in a hockey mask carrying a machete is synonymous with the Friday the 13th franchise, but you wouldn't know that if you watched the first or even the second film. He doesn't even don his famous hockey mask until part 3. In this film, the killer is off-screen for almost the entire film. And even the name Jason isn't uttered until over an hour into the movie. You have no idea what this backstory is, who Jason was, or what his purpose in the story is. And if you've seen the original film, you know his purpose in the story is minimal. This film came out in 1980 after John Carpenter's masterpiece Halloween, and 100% cashed in on that by making so much money on a fairly small budget. This movie had a budget of about $550,000, and it earned nearly $40 million at the domestic box office, with a worldwide gross of almost $60 million, which is why it's no surprise that there are like 50 Friday the 13th movies, because these films made so much money. But it's also blessed with terrific makeup effects by the legendary Tom Savini, and a killer score with a classic theme that also does a lot of heavy lifting throughout the movie, even beyond that theme. For me, my favorite entries in this franchise are the sillier ones. Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, Freddy vs. Jason, or even Jason X. I like the movies that don't take this franchise too seriously. Although the first film is undeniably quaint and nostalgic, and watching it around this time of year when it starts to get cooler in the Midwest, it feels right. If you find yourself bundling up more when you go outside, if you're wearing warmer clothes, watching Friday the 13th is absolutely enhanced by the vibes of spooky season. And this film didn't necessarily create many of the slasher tropes that became so popular in slasher movies of the 80s, but it certainly set them in stone. Characters that have sex or do drugs or smoke are probably going to be the first to be killed. And later in the movie, Mrs. Voorhees, played by Betsy Palmer, says that kids who were out there having sex is the reason her son drowned and wasn't saved. And so she seems to have a bit of a vendetta against anyone who has premarital sex. But it's not just those people who she kills. She pretty much kills everybody in the whole movie, save for one person, the final girl. The filmmakers later said they didn't really intend for that to be the idea, and the movie is just a slasher movie and you're not supposed to take it that seriously. But if you watch the opening scene alone, you have characters who are sitting around singing a song and seeming very innocent, while two other people having sex are killed. So whether that was the intention or not, it definitely came through between this film and the original Halloween. Something else that's always fun to see whenever I rewatch this movie is Kevin Bacon. Of course, not very famous at this time. This is one of his earliest roles, and he has been quoted as saying that he is often asked to sign pictures of his death scene, maybe even more so than anything else he's been involved in. What's also interesting is the idea that Victor Miller, the writer of the movie, essentially said that he was trying to invert the formula of Psycho. If you have never seen Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, this is also a spoiler for that movie, just as a warning. Okay, it's a great movie, you should see it. But in that movie, it's of course revealed that Norman Bates is dressing up like his mother and killing people. And at the end of Friday the 13th, Jason Voorhees' mother is pretending kind of to be him, taking on a bit of Jason's personality, becoming the son. One thing about the film that definitely works very well, but has always kind of felt like a bit of a cheat, is the reveal that Mrs. Voorhees is the killer. And it feels like a cheat because we've never met her before. She's not in the beginning of the movie waving to the kids as they go into town. She's not somebody at a restaurant. She doesn't greet them or bring them supplies at any given time in the movie. She shows up and is revealed to be the killer. It's kind of like making a whodunit, wondering who the murderer is, and literally never meeting the murderer until they introduce themselves as the murderer. Of course, there's no way to predict that because we've never met this character before, but it does result in a rather shocking reveal. Also, of course, iconic about this film is its jump scare ending, with Jason popping out of the water. This, of course, was heavily inspired by a scene in Brian De Palma's Carrie. The first time I saw that was on the Bravo Network's 100 Scariest Movie Moments of All Time, back in like '04, I think. Friday the 13th is not a perfect movie. It's a fairly conventional slasher movie, but it absolutely has a place in slasher history. I think it came out at the perfect time. I wouldn't watch this movie if you've never seen it expecting something as good as Carpenter's Halloween, but as I already stated, it is a very nostalgic movie, and it is not without its share of fun. So guys, look forward to more videos in the 13th annual Halloween special. I'm going to have such a good time doing these videos with you, and I also want to let you know, even though you probably already do, my film, Shelby Oaks, is coming out very, very soon. It is an independent film, 100% grassroots. We made this movie through our blood, sweat, and tears. We worked so hard to make a film not knowing where it would end up, and it is going to be in theaters. This is genuinely a dream come true, and I hope that you guys can go out to a theater and see this movie and support indie film. Thank you guys so much for your support. As always, I hope you guys do check out the movie on opening weekend, and as always, if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.